the NBA has handed him a 25-game suspension. Almost by himself, he dragged an entire team into the mud. Some have labeled him a fraud. From the Clippers to the 76ers, every franchise that's handed him a massive contract seems to drift farther and farther away from championship contention. When the league officially announced that Paul George had been suspended for violating the NBA's anti-drug policy, the reaction in Philadelphia was immediate and explosive. Countless Philadelphia 76ers fans blasted him straight into the trending charts. To Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, Paul George has nearly become a toxic asset on the roster. But to James Harden, at least in this moment, Paul George may be the one brother who truly stayed loyal. 2 years ago, Harden left Philadelphia in frustration after what he saw as a betrayal by the front office. 2 years later, George stepped directly into the fire with a high-stakes, self-sacrificing move, personally pushing the 76ers into a corner. People already thought it was outrageous that a max contract player was averaging just 16 points per game. But just as the team climbed to 6th in the Eastern Conference, Paul George suddenly imploded, in almost self-destructive fashion, dragging the 76ers right back into the mud. After the league's punishment was announced, George released a statement almost immediately, calling the situation a misunderstanding. He said that while seeking treatment for mental health issues, he mistakenly took an inappropriate medication, which led to the violation. He said he would take full responsibility and apologize to ownership, teammates, and fans. But judging by the severity of the punishment, this was anything but minor. A 25-game suspension qualifies as a major violation. In the past, many players who received similar penalties saw their career trajectories permanently altered. This suspension will cost George roughly $11.7 million in lost salary. More damaging still, he may have completely lost the trust of the 76ers front office. Multiple analysts have already said outright that once the suspension ends, Philadelphia may be willing to cut ties with George, no matter the financial cost. Remember, in the summer of 2024, Paul George signed a 4-year, $212 million max contract with the 76ers as a free agent. Since then, his performance hasn't come close to justifying a $50+ million annual salary, muted scoring, inconsistent availability, and a sharp decline in overall impact. The 76ers had finally gotten George and Embiid healthy at the same time, and the team had just begun to show signs of life, only for George's violation to send everything back into lockdown. Objectively speaking, George hasn't been completely useless. When he plays, the 76ers are 16-11. When he doesn't, they're 10-10. The problem is that this level of impact is nowhere near max contract value. Before the suspension, Philadelphia had hoped to explore the trade market for George ahead of the deadline. Once the league handed down its punishment, that path was essentially shut down. The people feeling the most relief right now might be Clippers fans. If the 76ers hadn't taken on George's contract, this mess likely would still be unfolding in Los Angeles. At least with the Clippers, when George was healthy, he more or less lived up to his deal. In Philadelphia, his struggles are now hard to explain away as just a slump. At this point, the only thing left is to say, half joking, half resigned, that as James Harden's closest ally, Paul George really did help his guy get a little payback this time.